Welcome back to Windows Wednesday, where we're going to talk about how the latest Windows updates just wreaked havoc all over. And we'll talk about that and the difference between what I've experienced on Linux. Thanks for checking out this video by Switch to Linux. If you like this type of content, subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. Leave us a like and a comment down below. And today we are going to be talking about these emergency out-of-band patches that Windows had to do because, whoops, they broke critical issues. And why is this happening? There were a report came out, just dozens and dozens, over 20 major Windows errors introduced by updates last year. And so far, we're starting this year with the very first Patch Tuesday. We had some major issues. Two which were considered seriously major that required out-of-band updates. Another one impacting, I don't know, everyone's work email, I guess. And you can always just uninstall the update, which, of course, patched 3 0-day vulnerabilities. So good luck with that. I think that a lot of this is happening because they just don't have a QA team anymore that looks at various different conditions about updates and things like that. Like the one series update, the system wouldn't shut down. What did they install updates and never shut the system down to restart it? Just to see if it works. That was one of those things that they had patched. The other factor, though, is that they are allowing AI to write a lot of their code now. They're basically introducing a lot of vibe coders to babysit AI. And then, of course, when that's the job you're doing, you're not looking at the code as closely as if you wrote it yourself in the midst of writing it and testing it. And so all this AI is vibe coding all of this stuff. And then they're like, oh, yeah, looks good because, you know, we all want to just get the job done quickly. And that is what is a consequence of that general worldview. And so what the issue is it the QA or is it vibe coding? Somewhere in between is certainly an issue, but let's go ahead and have a look at these. So from Windows Central, Microsoft forced to issue emergency out-of-band updates after the latest security patches broke PC shutdowns and sign-ins, particularly if you're using remote desktop. And so they pushed out a couple of, basically it was like, I think that patch pushed out, I think 100 different security fixes, including 3 0 days that were actively being exploited. So obviously the patch was important, but two of the issues that showed up seriously were some computers just failed to shut down properly. And you do kind of want your computer shut down properly. A swift kick and pulling the power can result in data loss. And so you don't really want to be doing that. And that certainly is one. The other one is, of course, everyone's trying to do cloud. Well, you can't connect to your personal computers over the cloud. So got to fix that one. We force everybody to do this nonsense. Now we just break it. Why not? And so they actually issued out a couple patches to roll those out. And looking at it, here's the changelog for it. So the connection authentication in remote connection applications affecting multiple platforms, including Windows 11, 25H2, 10, 22H2 ESU, Windows Server 2025, and then the other one was devices with secure launch might fail to shut down or hibernate. Issue only affects Windows 11 version 23H2 on enterprise or IoT editions. And so breaking some core functions. There were actually a bunch of other things. Actually, I think I have a report of all of the different issues. But they pushed these out, but they didn't fix the Outlook bug. It made the Outlook Classic look completely unusable. This, of course, might have been intentional. I don't know. Of course, the issue here is that there is still Microsoft has this bad branding problem. It's like everywhere. One of the bad branding problems is they have Outlook the application and they have Outlook the email service. And they've done this all the time. Like Windows 8 RT, Windows 8 Pro, whatever. You had all sorts of different things going on. And they do this all the time. Whoever is dug in deep at the naming and marketing at Microsoft, like dig out that roach and get rid of it and put someone else in there, because you got to name things different things. So the Outlook Classic, which is the desktop application you might use to check email, because I don't know, you just don't want to sit there checking email on your web browser all day long, separate applications for that. that actually broke, and it effectively broke things. Now, it would appear as that most people had issues if they were using that with POP. So, we did that video a couple days ago talking about email issues, and Google's getting rid of that POP3 protocol, and maybe Microsoft's looking at that going, hey, wait, you have a protocol that keeps the data on the server, so people are keeping them there, that we can constantly be coming through their emails rather than doing it once. Sign me up. Maybe that's part of the deal. I don't know. I didn't see anything about that. But it is interesting that if you're using Outlook, the desktop application, which is designed to download a copy of the messages to that computer, in case your internet goes out, you can still check what's in your email. I have clients send me stuff all the time. It's in my email. And, if I happen to be out in the middle of somewhere, like right now, my internet was so bad before I started this video, I just cranked on the Starlink. I mounted the Starlink dish up there. I'm not running it perpetually because it does take a lot of power. Internet here where I'm at is kind of good, kind of bad, but you know what? These things, like I need the fast internet for uploading videos and doing a couple things. Let's turn on Starlink for a little bit. We'll run it, and then we'll go back to the snail network that I have going on cellular. Saved me a lot of power doing that, especially it's just supposed to be cloudy for the next couple days. Anyway, back to point here. If I can remember where I was at, my train of thought has seemed to have derailed. But what I was mentioning here is I can check my email offline, work on stuff offline, and then get it uploaded to the internet when I have a stable connection again. A reasonable thing, and we used to actually live in a world where things were mostly offline. We kicked it online. That's not our world today. It's more useful to have that always on internet when you work entirely. Your jobs are on the internet, and I'm in the middle of a desert somewhere. I'm not exactly going out to an office building out at the Cactus around the corner. Anyway, though, so the Outlook Classic is completely broken. Really, the only fix for it right now is to remove the 74109 update. That's KB 5074109. Of course, if you do that, it's going to reintroduce 3 zero-day exploits and 100 other security vulnerabilities. And then the rest of the article kind of talks about the snafus with the updates last year. But there were actually a couple other ones. This one here from Windows Latest actually covered a lot more of the bugs that were introduced. This is like the first Patch Tuesday, just it wreaks havoc on Windows systems. Breaking desktop ANI files, breaking virtual desktops, breaking Outlook, black screens, that wasn't mentioned on the other one. So one of these is get these concept black screen. Remember how people on Linux are like, the screen's tearing. I can watch a movie, but every now and again the slides do this. Oh, shut up, you first world problem moron. Be lucky you're watching a movie on free software. You know what I mean? Like, are you sitting there transfixed to it at full HD? I can't blink. I'll miss a second. It's okay. But, of course, Windows likes copying everything Linux does, and I get this black screen flicker. Now, mind you, I have not actually seen screen tearing in Linux in a long time. So, I mean, that's an issue we were dealing with a decade ago. Haven't seen it in a long time. On Ubuntu-based systems, I used to get stuttering every once in a while, like maybe every 5 or 10 minutes or so. And on, I switched to Arch-based systems about 6 or 7 years ago full time for the media PC. Haven't had a single problem since, well, until YouTube started reintroducing those gaps in there as well. But anyway, that's a YouTube thing, not a Linux thing. But this is one, occasionally your screen will just go black, especially if you're changing screens and stuff like that. You just sit there with a black screen for a few seconds, and it comes back eventually. It's like, yeah, I was supposed to be on. All right, so you had that particular update. It might kill your desktop background. You boot your system up after the update, and your background's gone. And it's just got to go back in your personalizations and do it again. Here's a little bit more detail on the Outlook Classic. Won't open or exit. It will not save sent emails when you're using POP. Because, how dare you use something that might remove the emails from the server and keep a copy of it locally for you? That would be horrible. says Microsoft, as it's eyeing and salivating over what it could potentially do with all of that data, that sweet oil sitting inside of your desk, inside of your email inbox. There you go. All right, so this guy here is apparently using Outlook with this forbidden POP protocol, and his Outlook is not working. So, of course, you have... what do you do if it freezes? There's that. Here's the virtual desktop breakage. So it'll do that. I did see some reports about some on just basic cloud Microsoft accounts as well, but I wasn't able to find those particular articles here. So, of course, what do you do after it's done? Well, it's known to be an issue failure in 41079 by turning off a feature that caused the problem. You can find that in your Microsoft admin portal or download it from the company's website. There you go. Here's the localized file resource names to the desktop INIs and File Explorer. Desktop INIs, Linux uses these as well. You can customize some different folders and things. Of course, Linux, I think, uses them mostly for menu commands and things like that. But this one here is apparently you can customize different folders to do different things. It might be the exact same thing. You know, Windows steals everything from Linux anyway. That, of course, breaks as well. And so if you're using things like that, you'll get some issues. Here's how to uninstall the update if you want to uninstall it. And, of course, they said this patches up to 100 security issues, including 3 zero-day issues. You'll miss out the important fixes if you uninstall the update, and that's one of the trade-offs. So you want an insecure operating system, or do you want a functioning email client? How wonderful, how wonderful. So how is our experience working with Linux? Well, I have 3 different computers here that are always running Linux Mint. I have an MX computer that is using such an old version of MX Linux. I think it's MX Linux 19. It has Linux kernel 4 in there. And it works perfectly fine, so no need to update it. It barely goes on the internet. It's what I write my books and such on, and then I connect it to the internet, upload it to my own personal Nextcloud, and take it off the internet. It doesn't sit there, so I don't really see a reason to, upgrade that mostly offline machine. Of course, I have the Endeavor OS computer over here, and I have a few other miscellaneous devices as well. But with those Linux Mint computers, the one I'm recording this video, and I'll be recording and editing and uploading the video from, this computer is basically, I don't update it unless there's some major reason I have to. It just kind of stays put because I don't want anything questionable showing up in my daily video creation. The other one I keep updated on the previous branch of Linux. So right now that's sitting there updated as updated as it can get on the 21.3 branch. And then I have one of them that I keep on absolute edge. So whatever is available for Linux Mint is upgraded to it. So just earlier this week, I upgraded that to Linux Mint 22.3, which is the release that just came out. And we did the video about that. I think that was yesterday's video. Yeah, I think it was yesterday's video. And once again, it was just an extremely boring update. I pushed the update, it did the things, and really the only thing that I had to fix on it wasn't actually a bug. It was just something that they did with the new menu I wasn't a fan of, and that is they changed the default categories on the new menu to be system icons and not actual category icons. And I prefer the category icons. I kind of like that color in there. You can kind of see that in my thumbnail. That's just a toggle switch. In the background, they just chose to do the system icons instead of the category icons. No big deal. That's not a problem. I had 0 problems upgrading the system from 22. In fact, I think that one was on 21, whatever branch it was, and then I upgraded it up. Then I upgraded it from 21 to 22, and then I did a very boring video upgrading it from 22.0 to 22.1. I did another boring video upgrading from 22.1 to 22.2, and these videos were so boring I didn't even bother doing the boring upgrade again, 22.3, because I knew it was going to be flawless. I knew it wasn't going to cause any problems, and frankly, I just have an upgraded system that patched all the security and nothing fell apart. And no, for all you guys sitting there in the corner going, but I don't want to touch a terminal. I barely touch the terminal. The only reason I touch the terminal in this computer is because I want to, not because I have to. All right. Now, I will say this is the computer that has had a boot issue in the past, and that is actually caused by a limitation of the computer itself, not the software, and that I bought that computer with a very small hard drive. It only had a 256 gigabyte hard drive on it when I bought it, and because of that, the boot sector is a little too small. And so if you do not get out there and clear out old unused Linux kernels, the boot sector can fill up, because of the way I have the computer put together. That, again, is not a software issue. That is a me issue, the way it's configured. Now, that has since been resolved. I upgraded that up to a full terabyte drive, and I also go in there and I clean out all unused Linux kernels at all times. I keep the active one, and I keep one fallback one that I know is good, and that's it. But I have not had these types of problems. So we're talking about Windows here, and we're talking about Windows having, pushing out these upgrades. They mandate pushing these upgrades on you. Usually it's going to interfere with your workflow unless you're like really visual. You step out for a coffee and your computer might be rebooting itself and you're like, I didn't save my document. Even on Linux, if you do have something that shuts it down and you have a document open that's unsaved, that will stop the computer from shutting down. It'll be like, hey, bro, I need an answer to this before I proceed further. Okay. I mean, now, I can say kill all applications, don't worry about it, don't care. I can do that. I can force a shutdown. If you go into the terminal, you can force it to shut down without that. But by default, it doesn't. Okay, so the point is, well, Windows used to be this good system that works well and everything. The challenge that we have right now is it's become so bloated and so buggy, and they're forcing so much of it onto people in ways that nobody's asking for, that it raises a lot of serious and fundamental questions. Why not test out Linux? And the great thing about Linux, you can create a drive on Linux. You can try it out on your existing computer without breaking anything, just to see how it is before you decide. You can even go out and buy a separate external hard drive, install Linux onto that, and proceed to continue having your old Windows computer, and then plug that external hard drive in, boot up on that, and you can literally use the same machine for one of them is all your stuff on Linux, which is private and personal, and the other one is this cloud connected nonsense that wants to collect all your information and upload it to Microsoft's cloud for some weird non-consensual reason. It's kind of like having some crazy person spying on you. I don't know. But that's my thought. I would highly recommend you have a look at Linux if you've not already done that, because Windows is just getting insane. They keep on. It's like a gambling game. It's not like, is Windows going to break during this update? It's what's going to break on this Windows. Like, I am surprised. Actually, it probably is. I'd be wondering if there's a category on Polymarket for people to bet every single Patch Tuesday that shows up what type of update snafu are we going to have? Like, is it going to be a major system that wipes your disk? Is it going to be just something really minor? Or here's a Polymarket one. Do we have a Patch Tuesday Windows update that doesn't actually break anything? I'm not taking those odds, but I'm just totally surprised it's not there. Of course it might be, but I'm not into all that gambling crap and the addictions that comes with it. So with all that being said, though, have a look at Linux if you've not already done so. It is the time. It is definitely the time. So thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.